What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back for some more transfer talk, news, rumors, ins and outs, some interesting ones, some very scary ones. But listen, we're here to talk about them all. Before I get into it, of course, you know the drill, people. You know how it goes. Please like the video. It really is the best way to support the channel. Just click that little thumb, and that will really help the channel out in that way. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and of course, drop your comments and thoughts below. How is everyone doing today, man? How is everyone doing? We're going to talk about in this one Luke Ayling, of course, and we're going to talk about Crysencio Summerville, unfortunately, a new goalkeeper that potentially could be coming in, and also the new centre back. I'm just going to quickly touch on that one at the end of the show. Deshaun in the house, finally caught alive, first time since last year. I know you're not doing New Year's jokes. We done that already. We done that. That's done now. We're 3 days in now. We got to let go of those. I got a clip of those off on New Year's Day. Rince Harry, good to see you again, KG. Shout out to you, man. Bowie here. Afternoon, KG. Finally caught a live stream. First time in a minute. Yeah, listen. It like I say, with the transfers, especially with ones like I'm going to be speaking about today, I want to go live for these ones more than recorded, just because it's good to get a live input, like opinions from everybody there, so I can get to see what people are saying now rather than record it. There may be something happens in the day and I upload it later and people have changed their minds. I like to get people's live thoughts. But obviously, if you're watching a replay, no problem. Just remember to click that like button. Gordon saying Cree's going nowhere. I hope so. I hope so. Gavin here saying, can we convince Boro they need 2 fullbacks? And I'm sure with Gavin, he's talking about a certain junior. Shout out to you, Leeds Yank, sneaking away from the computer to catch this live in North Kakalaki. Cheers. Shout out to you, man. Enzio, good to see you live, KG. Happy New Year to you and all the family. Listen, Happy New Year. It's the 3rd of January now, but because I haven't seen you, Enzio, Happy New Year to you too. Shall we get into it, people? Because, like I say, with these, I want to try and keep them to under 30 minutes where possible, unless we're talking about confirmed signings, because these things could be daily, could be one later on tonight, could be one at 2 in the morning for all I know. But that's the beauty of doing these things. You just never know with transfers. And hello to you, Karen, big supporter of the channel. Shout out to you. Oh, talking of that, Mark, thank you, Mark, who's become a member of the channel. Thank you so much for joining and joining all the other members that support the channel. Really does help me out, helps the channel out. And if you want to become a member, the link is in the description. Thank you for that reminder. Seeing Karen, who's a regular supporter of the channel, just jogged my memory there. Thank you. Okay, let's go into it then. Obviously, this is the news that I guess a lot of people will be speaking about. I was sure Luke Ayling was out injured. I'm sure we heard he was out injured, but maybe it's one of those injuries where you're keeping them out just in case they're prepping for a move, because it's emerged today via Sky Sports News that Middlesbrough are interested in acquiring Luke Ayling services. And obviously, because it would be this month, we'd probably get a minimal fee, a small fee for it, rather than losing for free at the end of the year, because it looks like a new contract is not coming for Luke Ayling, which is the right thing, people, because he shouldn't have got one last year either. But I digress. It looks like the 49er Enterprise and Daniel Farker saying, this is it for you now. And he hasn't played since November, which I think a lot of people have forgotten. It just seems that he's been here and there and everywhere, but he really hasn't been here for over a month. He hasn't played a game for us for over a month. So this is very interesting for me. I'm very surprised that it's another championship club coming in for him. And that's not being horrible. That's just where I see his ability now. But it does look like Middlesbrough are in for him. And usually when Middlesbrough are rumored for a player, there's usually smoke there with that fire. I will say that Middlesbrough don't usually leak stuff unless they're, in talks or close to. So this looks like it could be a possible one. Now, I can imagine with him being a long-serving player here, this would be his 8th year, that there's going to be conversations there. There's going to be, how are we going to handle his departure? Will he get a goodbye? I'm not sure about that. I want to get your thoughts on that. What would you guys do with Luke Ayling at this point? And I'm really interested to get your thoughts now, because it's all well and good, when we say, this player's no good no more, he should be gone. But I can imagine with a few of you, especially some of the younger ones who haven't seen better than Luke Ayling at the club as a right back, that he probably holds a special place in your hearts, possibly. So I'm interested in from those kind of people too. Amy here saying, good luck to Luke. Great servant to the club, but it's time to go. Yes. Um, let's have a look. Hank here saying, I feel like MLS would be a better call for Luke to go crush it. Yeah, Hank, I'm just very surprised it's another championship team. I thought it would be a League One team at least a League One team. So yeah, look, listen, if he can get another championship move at this stage of his career, good luck to him. Really, really and truly. Danny here saying he needs a good send off. Danny, I'll ask you what kind of send off would you give him? Are you talking about a game? Are you talking about a bouquet of flowers? Let me know what. No, seriously, what kind of send off are you talking about there? I'm actually being serious there. Bubba saying, I'm playing for the last 7 minutes at home and clap him off. But this is it, Bubba. What if they want to get the deal done this week? What if, say, that the time frame for this deal is this week, and our next game is Peterborough away? Now, if we give him minutes in that game against Peterborough, what's going to happen there is, to a lot of people, it won't be good enough because it won't have been at Elland Road. So you go into that whole thing where, what are we going to keep this guy till our next home game? And plus, don't forget as well, people, our next league game is Cardiff away. That's a couple weeks now, isn't it? So it's going to be very difficult for that one. Beans TV saying it's a good move for him and for Leeds. Yeah, and for Ayling. It's time. It's been time for a break in this. Listen, look, let me give him his due here. These are Luke Ayling's Leeds United stats. He's made over 265 appearances for us, 11 goals, 21 assists, multiple bookings out the wazoo. And of course, we remember that red card. But, when you look at stats like that, it looks like he's had a very solid career. But let's be real, the last few years have been a downturn for Luke Ayling. It's been horrendous. Rinsed constantly, week in, week out, being the weak link. But overall, he's been a real good servant to the team. I don't forget the good stuff, like the promotion year, especially when both him and Leon Cooper were mentoring Ben White, and it was visible on the pitch. They were mentoring Ben White, allowing Ben White to play the game that he likes to play, and they helped him in that. But overall, in the last few years, I've been waiting for this day. And this is, again, I've always said I would never pop for me, super malt to say, hey, he's gone. It's just been time. It is just been time. Bubba, he can always visit Elland Road. Yeah, listen, that could be one of those things where he leaves, and then whenever Middlesbrough come back to play Elland Road, have we played Middlesbrough at home yet? I've forgotten. Like I say, with these games, I just tick them off and then kind of put them to the back of my mind. But that could be something. Maybe he comes back for just a general Leeds game at home, where it's penciled in. Middlesbrough aren't playing then. He can come in and get his goodbye there, get a send off at Elland Road. Maybe that could be it. Bobby saying, I used to pray for times like this. I hear it. Yeah, Mr. Anthropy is saying, I was thinking his next move would have been League One or Two. Yep. Surprised at this good move for him. Yeah, it's a real good move for him. Real good move for him. I like I say, I'm very surprised, but look, it just shows you what happens when you've been in the Premier League for a bit. You still get this is what I mean about people when they say, who's going to want this player? Who's going to want this certain player? There will always be players and teams that will want players because they think that when they get them, they'll get a fresh start out of them, a clean slate. They've got usage for him. And listen, maybe Middlesbrough need him for experience and all that kind of thing. But quite clearly at Leeds United, he's not needed anymore. He's not getting games. Even when we've had issues at right back, he hasn't been coming in. It's been Archie Gray. So, there's a time and place for everything. Yeah. I know. Bobby, it's a me, Clyde. I know that line, Bobby. I know you never just said that to me. Yes. I used to pray for times like this, rhymes like this. Yeah, I got it, Bobby. Let's have a look. Gavin saying, are we Boro's feeder club now? No. What if it was the feeder club scenario, it would be more like if you remember, Gavin, when Norwich was signing every single one of our better players, whether it was Howson, Bradley Johnson, Rob Snodgrass, Sam Byram, whether it was that, and I'm sure, you know what, I'm sure there's another one I'm missing out, people. I'm sure there's Becchio, didn't they sign Becchio too? That would be the feeder club scenario. We're giving them our cast-offs. in a sense, because Sam Greenwood doesn't have a future at this football club. So if Middlesbrough can get something out of him, cool. Luke Ayling clearly doesn't have a future at this club. Can they get something out of him? Cool. Yeah, Gordon. There are rumors. I did cover it yesterday, but there hasn't been anything further in regards to Liam Cooper and Stoke. So there's no point really talking about it here. Once there is an update, if there's any movement with that, of course, we'll come back and discuss it. Um, yeah, I thought that too, Andy. I thought he would go back to Yeovil, finish the story, kind of thing. But I didn't even realize, Andy, Yeovil aren't in the football league anymore. That's ignorance on me. Uh, um, Let's have a look. EV fan club. Okay. Good luck to Luke. I wish him well. Yeah, and that is it as well. And this is what I hope people don't ever get mixed up when I'm saying that a player isn't good enough for the club. Because I know in this day and age, it's black or white. You know, there's no middle ground. I actually don't dislike Luke Ayling in any way like that. I just know and have known for the longest time he is not the answer at right back for Leeds United. He hasn't been for a while. So it has been time for him to move on. And I wish him the best because he has provided one opportunity that so many others before him couldn't do. And that is help Leeds United get back to the Premier League. Well, when we got back to the Premier League the second time. And that won't be forgotten. But should have severed ties years ago. But listen, I wish him well too. Buey here saying Bet Bill was hoping for a Saudi team to come in for him. Now he's being linked with Northeast smallest club. Well, I've got to be real with you, Buey. I don't think there's only a very few amount of players from England that will go to Saudi, and that's if they're offered an eye-watering amount of money, a la Jordan Henderson and all these guys that are, British based. I can see him much preferring. Look at Luke Ayling right now. He's a family man. He'll probably like that. It's not really far from where he is now. I think it suits him down to the ground. I think it absolutely suits him down to the ground. Yeah, Ryan here saying he's been a great servant, but the time has come. Yeah, 100. I see Bubba here saying some players we love, some we hate. Oh, hate's a strong word, Bubba. Yeah, hate's a strong word. Maybe dislike. We'll go with dislike. But our priority is promotion, and this is a business. 100. We'll miss him. He was one of the good ones. Yeah. But yeah, in terms of the first bit, it is a business, and for far too long, this club has not been operating like a real football club. It's been operating like an old boys club. You've been playing poorly no matter what. Oh, you're staying in the team. Oh, you've had a couple of good games. Here's a shiny new contract for you. I feel like those days are done, and it's been time. It's been absolutely been time. So yeah, listen, we'll keep an eye out for that one. I think there is legs to this move in terms of Luke Ayling, and if it does happen, we'll come back and we'll give him a good send off. But yeah, Andy here saying Bill Preach in that promotion season. Yeah, he was fantastic in that year. Absolutely brilliant in that year we got promoted. Electric. He was up and down. He still had his legs about him. But unfortunately, as we've seen over the last few years, those legs have really gone, really, really gone. And listen, we got more out of him than we thought. He was 200,000. We certainly got more than our money's worth out of him. And he certainly got more than what he probably bargained for when he moved here. It's just time for a new chapter, people. And then in terms of Bill, the 49ers are not charity. It doesn't seem like they are. So we shall see with that one. Next up is we got to talk about our guy here, somebody who a majority of us, I would say 99% of us do want to see stay here. I know that some people are still not fully convinced by Summerville. Some people think he could be a bit greedy, etc. But Crysencio Summerville, as we've already spoken about before, has been looked at by previous clubs, and then Villa have emerged on the scene. Well, it looks like Newcastle are back in, and Jack Talbot, Jack Talbot, he's another one that gets a bit of stick, but he was on it from the start about Harrison to Everton and various other ones. He seems to have connects in Everton and Newcastle. He seems to be based in Newcastle, but has connects for both. But yeah, he's talking about Eddie Howe is monitoring Crysencio Summerville. Summerville may revisit it. In terms of that, Summerville, meanwhile, shares the same agency as Hal Wasserman, the firm who also get Hall and Barnes to St. James's Park last year. Now, that's a minor thing, the agency, but of course, agents and stuff do help. But the fact that Newcastle are monitoring him, these are the kind of things I'm talking about. Now, Newcastle aren't in the greatest of form. They're really not. They're on a bit of a slide, but there is still an attractive target. Now, unlike the Villa scenario where there's a left-hand side slot for him there, Newcastle is a bit more tricky because you do have Barnes there who is out injured, Harvey Barnes. And of course, you've got Anthony Gordon who has, to be fair to him, emerged this season. He's actually shown some quality. So it would be more of a case of Newcastle looking to beef up their squad and add more quality to it. And of course, Summerville does that. Now, obviously, I would say with Crysencio Summerville, and I haven't changed my stance on it. I think he stays as long as we're in touch with the top two. If this move was to happen, say at the end of the month, and we are, I don't know, 10 points behind second place, I don't know. I would be very nervous on that last day. I'll just say that. I'd be very nervous. Hopefully, the 49ers have reiterated that he's not for sale, but has Daniel Farke said himself, in regards to nobody's leaving this month, he has already had to retract that in terms of Charlie Creswell and saying, well, we have to speak to the player too. Unfortunately, we don't have it in our hands. If we was in Leicester's position, we don't even have this conversation, people. It's not even a conversation because we would know pretty much that we're going to be up in the next season and we can go from there with him in the Prem. But when you're in that playoff spot and you're not in touch with the top two, it gets a little dicey. But let's see. Jared here saying Paraga's made it clear our priority is promotion. I'm not concerned. I know, Jared. I do hear that, but the only thing I worry about is, let's just say that this does happen because Summerville, his agent, have said, you know what, we want to visit this. What if we do what we did with Bournemouth again and we lose a talent like Sinistero and bring back a subpar winger? What if we lost Crysencio Summerville and brought back Matt Ritchie? Imagine that. I'd be screwing. I would absolutely be screwing. But yeah, listen, I'm hoping this is the one worry I do have about this window in regards to Summerville. I know everyone feels it's secure because, you know, we're Leeds United and we're in the top six and everything. But man, we've seen how things play out before, especially when it comes to the end of the window. So let's hope that we continue to keep the points on. Ipswich continue this little slide they're on with drawing loads of games, and we're in touch with the top two. And then there's no argument from Cree to stay. I would hope. Damar, lose Cree, bring in Isaac. Imagine that. I know, yeah. But essentially, honestly, that's what we did with Bournemouth. Listen, can you guys? I remember when we first got Jay Anthony. So many of you got fooled. And go back to my streams. I swear, I said it. Don't be fooled just because the guy started 4 Premier League games for Bournemouth. That means 0 at this point. He is a cast-off. If he was so good, then they would keep him for the rest of the season. Forget what's his name, Sinistera. But listen, I mean, look, Jared here saying everyone's got a price. If they offer 40 million, you got to sell. Jared, I disagree. If we're in the top two or in the top two race, 40 million is nothing compared to the 175 plus, probably 200 million plus you get when you get promoted. I absolutely believe that you shouldn't sell at that price, 40 million. The problem is then on Jared's, if you go into counter, agree with Jared, is if we don't go up, we're not seeing 40 million in the summer. People know that the P&S window gets closed, the parachute payments get smaller. They'll know we can't hold out for 40, but at this point, I think we can. I think we can hold out. I don't think 40 million at this stage is good enough. Not even close. Yeah, Allison, 100%. 49ers have got to stand firm on this one, big time. Think about Cree Summerville's impact this season. Never mind. I know, listen, 18 GNA in 25 games. That is awesome. But it's even in our games when we've been so poor, he still stands out. He's still the one trying to get the ball, trying to make things happen. He is the glue up front. We look completely different when Summerville's not on the pitch. He is the danger man in this division. As you can see now, he's getting double and triple teamed up. We must keep this guy, 100%. He does, Andy. Yeah, Cree seems happy at Leeds. Well, yeah, he does. He is happy here, and he is happy being the man. But you know, always remember that saying: "I'm happy, but could I be happier?" I do hope that everything that Cree is doing, being the man, being the go-to guy, being the guy that wants, trying to lead the charge for promotion, is more than enough, and we get to keep him, and we leave it at that. But obviously, as you get closer to the end of the window, if we're not doing what we're supposed to do in the league, it becomes a different conversation. But listen, let's hope that doesn't happen. Ryan here with another kind of comic. Ryan, you've done this a couple times with. He said there's something similar about Jed Spence. But listen, let's hope then that Creed doesn't sulk if Newcastle bid is coming and we reject it and have a Nanto issue again. Not everybody is the same as Nanto and his agent, more his agent than Nanto. Just because they're friends, it doesn't mean that they're the same. Do you have all the same interests as your friends? One is not the same as the other. It's completely different. And yeah, SJ, Cree's worth has been top level, 100%. He has. SSJ, and this is what I don't want people to get hung up on, because you can say one thing and then do another, as we've seen in football. But SSJW saying, didn't Summerville say he wants to stay this season with Leeds in the summer to get promotion? He has said that. Come out of his mouth as well. So he has said it, but maybe at those times it was just the Burnleys and Everton looking at him and he's thinking, yeah, I don't really fancy that. Different story when Unai Emery is looking at you at Villa and Newcastle United, where you could go play with Guimaraes and Isaac and Callum Wilson when he's fit. It's different. But yeah, let's exactly. Arson, another thing, if you get offered 100 grand, 150 grand a week, there's so many different factors, people. But listen, we'll keep an eye on this one, but hopefully we go without any hiccups, and he's still by February. Now the next one, actually, yeah, let me go on to the goalkeeper. Let me just get this one here. Now, Bart Dragowski here is likely to leave Spezia, who are in Serie B. Serie B, yeah, they got relegated last year. Leeds and Hull City are said to be in the picture for the same signing. Contact from both could come soon. Now, this is interesting because he's 26 now, and listen, long-term football managers players will know he used to be a hot prospect, man. I remember this guy being like a wonder kid back in the day, but obviously he's had a decent career. He's had an average career, I would say. It seems like he's had probably his best spell at Spezia, probably because they had loads of shots to save. But I would say, yeah, I'll call him Bart, Gary. Yeah, let's shorten it to Bart. I'm sure he doesn't mind. But it would be very interesting. Listen, he's currently on the bench for Spezia, but I think it's because he's already made it known he wants to leave. And he got an injury, so they're just going with the goalkeeper they have, and they're probably trying to facilitate a move for him now. So I wouldn't get hung up too much on him being a bench player at a Serie B club, although it sounds mad when you say it out loud. I think there's circumstances around that, but it just goes to the thinking. Though I'm just thinking what you guys are saying. If he is to come in, surely we're not having another Darlow situation where he's happy to come in to be a number 2 at a low league. I wouldn't like that. I want the next goalkeeper to come in to be the number 1, but at the same time, I don't see Illan Meslier leaving either. I don't know what's everyone saying. Hank here saying, curious why folks are shrugging off Klaassen as a legitimate option. 2 for 2 thus far. Yeah, I mean, I mean the Wolves game. Okay, I give you that, but the Birmingham game wasn't really a true test, was it? He had 1 or 2 saves to make, and you'd be disappointed if any of those went in. I don't know. I don't know if you want to go with Klaassen. Maybe he's the one to leave, and Dragowski comes in. I don't know. Damar saying he's been frozen out, but he wants to leave. He's a really good keeper. Yeah, I remember him being a decent keeper. I've just lost track of him since he left Fiorentina, but he's 26. That's still a good age. I don't know though, man. I don't know. Leeds FC saying too many keepers. Yeah, someone's going to have to go. Someone is going to have to go in terms of you can't have Darlow, Meslier, Dragowski, and Klaassen. That's just OD. That's too much. Jared here saying Melier's numbers are quite bad when comparing to the rest of the championship goalkeepers. They are. They're absolute. They are the middle of the road. They're average at best. That's why I'm saying If you can sell Meslier this month for the fee that was quoted in the summer, around 20, even 15 at this stage, I'm absolutely taking it. Absolutely taking it and getting another goalkeeper. Yeah, Aney here saying bring him in, cash in on Mez. Vega here, shout out to you, Vega. Darlow was a waste of money. Yeah, I thought Darlow was coming in to be the number one. I didn't expect someone to leave a Premier League club, whether they're being fourth choice or not, to then move to the Championship and be content with sitting on the bench. That kind of mentality is not for me. I'll be real with you. I would expect you to be knocking on the door, hammering down the door, and making that place your own. And he seems like he's content being a number two. You know, this is not Scott Carson we're talking about here. Darlow's only 32 years old or something like that. He should still be wanting to play first team. And yeah, I'm not too sure about that. That mentality is not for me. Yeah, he did cost us hardly anything. It was 400k, not too much. And yeah, Nidar here, unlucky for him, wasn't it? But Darlow getting injured the one time he was needed. Yeah, we didn't even get to see a 3-game audition from Carl Darlow to say, hey, Meslier, you made a big error there. Sit your bottom on the bench. Don't even know anymore. I think Meslier is going to come straight back in once his suspension's over. Vega's like Vega's not having it though. Darlow could have been 10 pence and was still a waste. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in regards to that. If there's any more movement on this one, I'll be very interested to see. Like I say, he used to be a hot prospect back in the day, but 26 is a good age for a goalkeeper. And if he can give us solid goalkeeping, and then we can get some real money for, say, Meslier, even though I don't see it happening, that would be a good scenario for me at this stage. Because you're not getting any worse than Meslier, are you? You're going to get average goalkeeping, goaltending at best. But yeah, so there's that one. And I'm just going to touch on this one here in regards to Nathaniel Adjei, the Hammarby centre-back that's had a price quoted between 3 and 4 million. And of course, personal terms won't be a stumbling block because he's coming from Hammarby. I'm sure he'll be getting a nice little pay raise here in England. Ipswich and Millwall are interested. Don't go Millwall, brother. Don't go Millwall. Stay away from that. The news comes just one day after Leeds manager Danny Farker suggested Charlie Creswell's future could be away from Leeds United. Now, full disclosure, I've never seen this guy play. I've seen the clips on YouTube, but we've all been fooled by YouTube clips before. What I would say is that he looks adept with both feet, which is excellent. You know, you don't have to worry about, is he left or right footed? He can do both. But it does mean it looks like it's the spell of someone. Now, that site there says Charlie Creswell, but what about the Liam Cooper links? Could he be a replacement for Liam Cooper? What if Liam Cooper goes and Charlie Creswell is to stay, and him and Charlie Creswell are the two backups? I don't know. Yeah, he does. He looks like a unit. I like that. I like the fact that he's technically good and strong. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, Damar, you know the vibes, Damar. You know what I'm trying to say, don't you? You know what I'm trying to say, Damar. He makes any mistakes at Millwall, it's game over for him. Yeah, just forget it, man. I don't advise any brothers going there, man. Allow it. Vega here is loving his shoulders. Them the dude's built. Yeah. So this is me not going on the basis of not knowing anything about him, not seeing him for a 90-minute game. Couldn't tell you anything. So this is purely, speculation. But obviously, if he is to come in, you've got to believe that someone's going out. And is it going to be Charlie? Is it going to be Liam? But what if both Charlie and Liam go? Does that mean we get him and then go in for another? Because we won't have another centre back then. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. And you can already see with Pascal, even though he's improved a lot this season, he still has injury issues that he's working through, and we're having to rest him in certain games. So we do need another quality centre back to slide along Joe Rodon. Gavin here, Schmeichel is off to the Blades with Ben Brereton Diaz. Is that true? Let me see that one. Let me just look that up, Gavin. You don't usually mess about. Let me just check that. I know Ben Brereton Diaz hasn't been getting game time. Let's have a look. Is that true? Can't see anything. Can't see anything. Oh, allegedly. All right, fair dues. Aney here saying another Rasmus. And again, with this kind of thing, just because you get people from lower leagues or lesser leagues, it doesn't mean they're all going to be bust. The way people just correlate things to one to another. I mean, that's like saying Eric Backer was a bust for us when he came from Mold. It's not true, is it? or wherever he came from. It's not true. Eric Bakker was until he got his injury issues was brilliant for Leeds United. It's not always the same. Just because they come from a lower league, they're going to be a bust. But what I'm not going to do is say that this is going to be a successful signing because I haven't seen him play, and that would be stupid of me. Even as a content creator, I'm going to have to sit on the fence with this one, which is not good for a content creator. In all fairness, Adjei is only 21, too. Yeah, young guy, and that's what we need to do as well. We need to get a couple younger centre backs. We've already tried the 25 plus centre backs, and it hasn't worked. If there's another 25 plus, that's good, cool. But listen, a 21-year-old on a permanent contract, I'm in for it. I'm in for it. And listen, they would have done their data, they would have done their scouting. Let's go. Let's see what he's got if he's to come in. We'll keep an eye on it and see if there's any more news, because it seemed like this one is not on the brink, but it seems like it's closer from the Swedish media side. We'll wait and see. Gavin here saying Boro will get a shock when Ayling turns up at Boro with Rasmussen Jr. Jack here saying Rasmus was a Marsh signing. He had no idea the quality that was required at the level. It's always it's interesting with that, Jack, because I've seen other people say about Jesse Marsh wanting Brendan Aronson, but if everyone remembers, the person that greenlit the Brendan Aronson signing was actually Marcelo Bielsa. Which is always funny. I think people like to just, because Brendan Aronson was such a flop, just give it to Marsh anyway. But no, the world don't work like that, people. That's it, Lars. Thank you. Sognal. Let's go with Sognal, yeah? But yes, thank you, Lars. Thanks for correcting me. I don't know why I think his kid's at Mulder. I think his kid's at Mulder. I think that's why I said Mulder, Lars, but you can correct me on that one. Buey here saying, isn't Creswell 21? Surely we can sell Charlie for 10 million. Mark, bring this guy in as a decent reinvestment. Yeah, and Buey, that's correct. That's correct in terms of the same thing I've said about Melier, or even other players that aren't going to play here. Gelhardt, no, Gelhardt's not going to go for 10 million. But yeah, if he's not going to play here, sell him and get players that you will actually play. And then we've got more money to play with to strengthen other areas of the squad. Because that 3-4 million, just like with Josh Doig, alleged, rumored 5 million, you're getting to strengthen the team in other areas, and you're probably upping the quality overall as well. But listen, Creswell, we've seen what he can do. I haven't seen what he can do. So it's going to be an interesting thing. But obviously, Daniel Farker does not trust Charlie Creswell. So we've got to see what happens there. Damar here saying Bielsa would have transformed Arison in a way we've never seen before. I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean that he would have made Aronson a centre back? Because we saw what Bielsa did with Dan James. He made him a striker. He made Tyler Roberts whatever you want. It wasn't always. Thank you, Lars. It wasn't always sunshine with Bielsa. He got so much right, but he didn't get everything right. Take those rose tinted glasses off. He didn't get everything right, unfortunately. Gavin saying, see Ben Jacobs. While I'm here, let's do that. I am at the end of the show, but let's have a look. Gavin's telling me to look at Ben Jacobs, who is also a bit of a transfer insider. Let's have a look. I'm looking. Not seeing nothing. I'm seeing Nketiah possibly going to Palace. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, all right. Okay, and our names are in here. Nice looking out, Gavin. Nida. Bielsa could have made Aronson a ball at least. Tremendous, yeah. Damar saying those rose tinted glasses stuck to my eyes, can't take them off. I hear that. There's a lot of you like that, Damar. You're not the only one, but yeah. But shout out to you, Gavin, for highlighting this. I did not see this myself. Ben Jacobs here saying Sheffield United are trying to sign Villarreal striker Ben Brereton Diaz on loan. No option to buy being discussed. Brereton Diaz remains on Leeds' radar. They could explore something this summer if they get promoted. Listen, I know it's not going to plan of what Ben would have wanted. He's not getting a lot of football out there, and he's being played as a left winger most of the time as well when he does get on the pitch. But I can see Sheffield United trying to go in for him. They need another forward. But is he going to do that when he knows that Sheffield United are pretty much nailed on for relegation? This is the problem. This is what I talk about in what you plan for the summer is completely different from what you can possibly plan for in January. I'm sure if it was the start of the year and he'd already been at Villarreal, he'd probably say, yeah, that's not a bad. Let me try and do something for Sheffield United. But at this stage, it's pretty much curtains for that football club. It's going to be interesting. Probably wants just regular first team football, but I know that he wanted that move to work out in Spain. You know, ever since he did the Chile thing and has become a staple over there, I know he'd have wanted this to work out, but he's not getting game time. I just don't know about if we get promoted. This is what I would want in the Premier League. I'm not sure about that, but we got to get promoted first, people. We got to get promoted first. Um, but yeah, Spence here saying, "Do you think Kamara can go all season, or will he drop off?" I think he can go. I think he can go all season. He, he hasn't been as dominant as he has been in the last couple games, admittedly, but I still think that at this level, you're not going to get much better than Kamara. And if he could, just shoot the ball, maybe that would be nice too. Have a goal scorer midfielder. I just look around and even more see. I know it's a different level, but Decore for Everton. I'd like my central midfielders to shoot a little bit. We're going to talk about one that did that in just a moment as well before I end the stream. Um, uh, yeah, 14. Yeah, fans forget it was Marsh that believed in Summerville. If it was Bielsa in charge, he would have been gone ages ago. Yeah, again, another one for Demar. Remember that game against Wolves that someone mentioned, Klaas, and then it was both Summerville and Gelhardt that saved that game for us, and they got dropped. They got dropped, and we never saw Summerville again for quite a while. And Summerville was actually one of the first people that Bielsa publicly kind of threw under the bus. Obviously, the most obvious one was Cody Drame, but yeah, it wasn't always perfect. He was magnificent for us. Don't get me wrong, but I just can't have the thing that he was perfect in every single way because he wasn't. Otherwise, he'd still be here. But yeah, let's have a look. Wait there. There's an argument going on. 44 incorrect. Jesse said Somerville had attitude issues. BS. He didn't say he had attitude issues, Vega, but he said that he wasn't mature enough. But I'd gone through that already on a separate stream because I already got info on Somerville and what was meant by that. And he was just having a hard time settling, which Somerville actually came out and said, was it last summer? It could have been this previous summer. He already come out and said he was just having a hard time adjusting. He wasn't getting played a lot, and he was having a hard time adjusting to England. You got to remember, the guy was very young when he moved from Holland, and he didn't come from the usual place that a lot of these football players come from, where they're made out of factories. He came from a different kind of upbringing. Not everyone has the same upbringing, so it was just an adjustment for him to adapt, and he's done that. Look at him now. Look at him now. But yeah, and that is true. Marshall did also say Nanto wasn't ready for first team football. So there you go with that one. Marshall did also say about why did people in England talk about the back post so much? That's when it was over for me, people. That's when I went, Jesse, you said too much, brother. You said too much. What are you talking about? Everyone knows the back post. But yeah, listen, Ben Brereton Diaz, possibly Sheffield United, Leeds still on. We've been linked with this guy forever now. Oh yeah, I want to just finish with this. We talk about goal scoring midfielders. Let me just get this on. Here we are. There we are. Goal scoring midfielders. There's none better in that I can remember for us from central midfield, right midfield, left midfield than Lee Bowyer. Happy birthday to this guy. Imagine if we could get a regen of this guy. I mean, if you was around to see Lee Bowyer, he was all action. You see everything that people like to praise certain players for having attributes for this and that, like the running about bit for Forshaw, technical ability of Kamara, goal scoring of so and so. Lee Bowyer was all of that in one player. All of that in one player. Yeah, the middle of the pitch. I know. Let's try and forget that. But this guy, honestly, it's probably it always switches for me depending on the highlights I'm watching of Premier League years now, because obviously you can't really watch the games from when they played in full anymore, but it always switches between him and Harry Kewell. But Lee Bowyer, when you're talking about all action, all round, box to box, play right, left, central midfield, tackling, shooting, assist. This is the standard bearer. That's why it's always hard for me, people, and this gives you an insight to how I'm always so harsh on players like Adam Forshaw and all these guys. When I'm thinking of great Leeds United midfielders, and I'm sure people older than me can remember even better. My mom always talks about Billy Bremner and how brilliant he was. She loved Billy Bremner. But when I'm thinking about Lee Bowyer, and that's the standard I want back at this football club. Nidar here saying Bowyer was like our Lampard playing ability. Obviously, yeah. Obviously, Lampard, you know, forget the manager. He's a dodo. But as a player, he got the goals, didn't he? But Lee Bowyer was just that guy. And I wish we could at some point get back to this level, because this is, if he didn't have the off-field issues, and if he was a bit of a sexy player, if he had gone to Liverpool when he probably should have in that 9 million deal, he'd probably be remembered a lot better. But this was a player, absolute player. Ads is saying Batty was better. Listen, David Batty is another one of my favorites. He's another one. And another thing about David Batty, his passing is underrated. Underrated. Ryan saying Bowie was amazing, but Batty was my man. I hear that. Listen, I'm not going to argue with that. Those are the kind of debates that I enjoy, because there's no loser here. If you're saying David Batty, Lee Bowyer, I'm loving that. It's when we talk about Adam Forshaw and Lewis Bate and all this, and that's when my interest just isn't there. So that gives you an insight as to why I judge midfielders so harshly, because he was everything. And Olivier Decourt, someone's just saying Decourt, yeah. I mean, again, Decourt, silky, absolutely silky. Oh, that team. Don't make me go watch Premier League years again. I'll do it, people. I'll do it. I've got to focus on what we're going to do at the moment. Are we going to lose Luke Ayling or Summerville, one of these guys? I don't know. So many good times, people. So many good times. And hopefully we can all get there again. That's what I want. And I'm sure that's what you guys want as well. Surely that's what you want. But listen, we're going to end it there. Look, I said I'll try and keep these under 30 minutes. That just hasn't worked today. But I hope you've enjoyed the show. Please hit a like on the video. Please do that for me. Subscribe to the channel. And of course, drop your comments and thoughts below about anything discussed here today or anything else you've heard. Peace out, people. And I'll see you in the next one.